copy of this in case I say something interesting or worth going back and listening to. All right, now I've got my chat open. I'm just going to minimize my viewer here, and we are all set. All right. So there's my chat. So welcome to today's office hours. To get started, I want to say that we'll focus on the EventStream service that ClickBid offers and talk about some live auction items streaming through OBS software or through your web browser. And then certainly as you guys have questions, they don't necessarily have to be related to what I'm talking about. Just go ahead and drop them in the chat and I will jump on those and answer them as I see them come in. So when you use the EventStream service, you get a few new pages added to your account. The first one that we want to look at is under the Event Central tab and the live broadcast page. That's going to show up right underneath the event feed. The live broadcast page is what you will go to in order to see your stream channel, your broadcast publishing token, and the settings that you'll use in order to make that stream come to life. And so there's 3 sections on this page. The first section is the privacy settings. We actually created this so that you could do what we call it a dry run. Let's say your event is on this Saturday and you opened the auction yesterday on Monday, but your auctioneer, your tech folks, some of the volunteers, they're not really available until Thursday, Friday. So how do you do a broadcast test without showing your program to everybody before it's ready? And so what you would do is you would switch this to filter on bidders, and you can type in a bidder number, comma, bidder number, comma, bidder number, and so on. Only those bidder numbers will be able to see the video, bid on the live auction items in real time, and give online in real time. So you can really run the software just for a select group of people, those specific things. Everybody else can participate in the silent auction, register to bid, check out, that kind of thing. But this is for a limited crowd. And like I said, we built it so you could do a dry run, but what we found out is people could use this for like a VIP reception that's happening before the event. So if you wanted to have a guest speaker that will speak from 5 to 6 p.m., you could filter it on 10, 15 bidder numbers, or you can also filter it on table numbers. So let's say I created a happy hour and I wanted to create a table called HH or happy hour. I could assign 30 or 40 people to that table, and anybody who's assigned to that table will be able to see my live broadcast, bid in the live auction, and give in the dedicated fund to need. All I need to do, though, is let's just say I want them to see the broadcast from 5 to 6, and then I want everybody to see it from 6 to 7. At 6 o'clock, I would just switch this to public, and now everybody can see it. So that's a way to filter so that you can do a filtered broadcast to specific people, or you can do a dry run with your AV team, your auctioneer, and so on. The other section here briefly is just the office hours that you can sign up for. We do those every Tuesday and Thursday at different times. And then underneath here, the big kind of main section is the question, how do you plan to send video to your EventStream channel? And the reason I ask that is because I want everybody to understand that the EventStream is a channel, not a program or a show. It's a channel, just like ESPN, Nickelodeon, Showtime. Those are channels, and you get to choose what you put on that channel. And you can put live video, pre-recorded video, web pages, graphics, just music. Anything you want to put on that channel is available, and we're going to make sure that it gets to everybody in almost near real time, meaning the time that it takes my video to go through my web camera into the display of somebody's cell phone is going to be less than 1 second. It's going to be about half a second or 500 milliseconds. And so that's really, really, really important when you get into wanting a live auction to take place in a room with 200 guests and allowing people from across the country to bid and compete, truly compete with somebody who's in a room. And I'll show you how that works, but that technology, that underlying technology is right here, right for you to use. In order to get that real-time, less than 1 second delay, you do have to use the customized version of what's called OBS, Open Broadcasting Software, that the organization we partnered with created for that specific speed of video. Now, if you're not familiar with OBS, OBS is a program that you download very much like PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint, and it allows you to build slides, essentially, that you can then present to people at a specific time when you're broadcasting your event. So let's say the event is from 6 to 7 this Saturday. I'm going to set up 7 different videos, and then I'm going to have a live video where my web camera is looking at me. So I'm going to cut in and out of the program a couple of times, maybe to do a live auction or maybe to do a giveaway or to talk and maybe host the event. But I have a handful of videos I want to play and a web page with my appeal display that I want to show. So I would assemble all of that program inside of OBS. There's a lot of different software packages out there that do this, but the version that we have had customized for our service is the one you would use to get that lightning fast delivery of video, real-time broadcasting. So what you would do is you would choose either the Macintosh version or the Windows version. I have Windows here today, and I'll show you what it looks like. It looks very much like the publicly available version of OBS. So if you've ever used it for any kind of broadcasting, then you would, you will see that it's very familiar. So you do have a couple other options if you're doing something just very, very simple and you want to broadcast through your laptop. So let's say I have my laptop set up here. I've got my web camera on. I want to broadcast what I'm saying right now. I want to broadcast that to everybody. And a great use case for this is, let's say, again, my event is this Saturday, and I opened my auction yesterday on Monday. I wanted to make it more of a big deal that I opened my auction on Monday. So I told everybody on Friday, then again on Saturday, and a reminder on Sunday that Monday morning, I'm going to get on my computer and I'm going to do a live welcome broadcast to everybody who logs in, creates a bidder number, and watches the program. I'm going to do a live broadcast and welcome everybody to the event. The auction, I'm going to say something like, "Hi everybody, this is Matt from ClickBid. I just want to welcome you all to the event. We just opened it right now. You can go ahead and start bidding. In the software below, you can pick your auction item, choose a category. Once you start bidding, you're going to get outbid notices. As people outbid you, you'll get those in your text and on your phone or an email. We're going to keep it going all week long. We're so excited to have our big virtual event on Saturday night at 6 o'clock. You're not going to want to miss it. Thank you so much for being a part of this." And then I'm going to stop my broadcast. If I wanted to do that, I would just choose web browser, and then I would choose Open Broadcaster. And it's going to tell me that it can't access my camera because I'm running a Zoom right now. But if I'm not running a Zoom right now, which I wouldn't be, I could just press start and it would broadcast whatever my web camera and my microphone are looking at. So it would go ahead and just send that right out to everybody who's logged in to bid in my silent auction. And by using email to market that, people will then know that Monday morning at 9 a.m. they should go join the website. And it's another driver to get people to your landing page. We're trying to solve a couple things here. One, we want people to want to go online and bid. We want people to use the software on Monday so they know how to use it all week long. And we want people to see how the video broadcasting works so they know on Saturday when the highly produced program starts at 6, they know that, oh, all I have to do is what I did on Monday. I just go to the site and it'll pop up. So it accomplishes several things by doing that kind of pre-launch kind of deal. And again, it takes the virtual event outside of just what a gala used to do. A gala really has to happen in person on Saturday night from 6 to 11 p.m. That's what we rented. That's when our catering is going to be there. That's when the open bar is going to be there. That's our, our license to do the raffle is for that day. But when you do things online, virtually, you can expand your experience. You can expand it from Saturday night to Friday night and Saturday night, or my pre-broadcast on Monday, then I'm going to do like a TED Talk style discussion on Wednesday. Then I'm going to do another topical discussion on Thursday, and then it's going to culminate on Saturday. Kind of starts to feel more like a conference or a more of an experience than just a single gala. And during all of those, you can get people to bid. You can send them out bid notices. You can send them updates on new auction items, giveaways, raffles. All that stuff can happen all week long to celebrate your annual experience gala or annual experience. Now, the other two options, Zoom and other, those are if Zoom does allow you to broadcast anything in your Zoom meeting. So I could take this meeting that we're in right now and I could broadcast it to my ClickBid site. I could also, and the instructions are on the Zoom tab, you can download a PDF that walks you through it. And it's really quite simple. We put the details here right on this tab so you don't have to go searching for it. And you would just click copy to copy those pieces of information and put them where Zoom asks for them. And then what's nice, why would anybody use Zoom? If you're doing kind of a panel, like let's say, again, we took that idea of maybe Wednesday, middle of the week, we're going to do a Zoom panel on, types of giving, or if I was running a cancer research, I'd have maybe a couple of leaders in the community talking about the value of this, giving to this nonprofit and how that helps with cancer research or telling stories. I could take that Zoom meeting with all those little grids with everybody's face, and I could just broadcast that. So that would be a way to do it. It's pretty easy to do and set up. The last option is if you're working with an AV company. So maybe I rented a small space at the at the Hilton, and the AV company that contracts with the Hilton is going to do my broadcast. I'm paying them to just handle it. They probably use a different software than OBS, and they're going to want different credentials. And so that's what this other tab is for. Those programs are called, Wirecast, ManyCam, vMix, StreamYard. There's a bunch. And they all want the same stuff, and it's right here. The publish path, the stream key. You can copy this information and email it to them, and they'll be able to handle all of the setup. Now, one thing I would recommend is if you are doing a broadcast with a production company, you can certainly have them set up a conference call with me in advance. I'm happy to talk to any production company that you're working with so that we make sure everything gets dialed in. We can do a test stream so that they can see that the stream is actually performing well, that there's no not delay, but there's no skipping or dropping of frames, that kind of stuff, because there are a few settings that they'll want to use, which are right here that I'm selecting. And if that gets confusing, I'm happy to help clear that up. I've worked with a couple of different programs and AV companies, and we can always get it sorted out if they have any questions. So now this does introduce a little bit of a delay because you're not using the OBS software that we're providing you, and the delay is still much better than YouTube, Facebook, or Vimeo. But it's still going to be between 2 and 5 seconds. So if you're doing a live auction, that can be a little bit of an impact. But if you're not doing a live auction and maybe it's just a fund a need, then you're okay, and that shouldn't be a problem. And we have some options for how you can think about a live auction that maybe you're saying, listen, Matt, we don't want to use EventStream. We just want to publish this thing to YouTube or Facebook. How do we do it if we know that there's going to be a 30-second delay? We can walk through some scenarios to make sure that works. It's a little different, but we can make that happen. Having explained that, let me go back to the OBS software tab. And let's say I downloaded the Windows 10 version, and I'm going to go to OBS, and it's going to launch the OBS software. And you can see here that I have a program that pops up, and it's called OBS. There's a big kind of black screen here. There's a bottom row of controls, and normally they would be empty. This is the scenes column over here on the left. This is what I call the slides. If you're doing PowerPoint, I try to make a lot of comparisons here. In PowerPoint, you have slides. In OBS, you have scenes. They're the same thing, different images, slides that you're going to show things at different times. So imagine doing a year-end report or a monthly sales report. This slide shows you a chart about, our sales growth. This next chart shows you, a diagram of our market growth, and so on. You're creating slides to tell different things. It's very similar in OBS. You would create a new scene. Inside that scene, you would put something. In this case, I would want to put a video, or I would want to put a live web camera, or I'd want to put a web page. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to delete some of these here. And I was doing some testing with an event that we did. So ClickBid does offer full production video services. If you're looking for somebody to just handle it, we do offer that. It's a remote service, and we'll help you assemble the videos. We'll actually do the editing, and then we'll present it on that Saturday night. But if you're doing it yourself, then what you would want to do is you would want to start with your first scene. And I'm going to call this, I already called it a waiting scene. And I usually recommend having that, just in case you need to go to something that is kind of like a holding pattern in case you got lost or you needed a break or something kind of went crazy. It's just a nice thing to have in case, you run into a little bit of trouble. I just got so I did see somebody try to join, and I've been trying to join them, but I can't seem to get them they must not be able to get in for some reason. They can keep trying, and I'll let them in. So in my blank waiting scene, I'm going to put two things. I'm going to put a solid color, so you can choose this plus button. Sometimes I go a little bit too fast, and I need to remind myself to slow down. In the sources, I want to press plus, and then I want to press color source. Before I do, you can see that I have a lot of different options. And so, but I'm just going to stick with a couple of them. I'm going to do color source, and then I'm going to pick a blue or, something kind of dark, but not black. And there we go. And then on top of that, I want to put some text. I want to put click the plus button, and then choose, instead of color source up here, I want to choose text. And then I hit OK, and I'm going to say, we'll be right back. And I can select a font. I'm going to choose Montserrat. Montserrat. I'm not really sure how you say that. And medium, and 72. And then notice it's a little small now at the top left corner. So actually, I'm going to type in 172. A little better. And then I'm going to press OK. Now, just like PowerPoint, you can click on these layers and you can move them around. So I'm going to put it right here in the middle. Now, instead of this background color, I could have chosen plus image. I could have put an image back there. Let's say I have a graphics person that made a full screen image. I could choose a video from a media source, and that will let me put a video back there that could loop. I have a drone, something I found online of a shoreline that can just loop. That can be back there. So you have some options. But for me, I'm just going to do a solid color and some text. Now, I have my first scene. I'm ready to broadcast. I mean, not really, because I only have one scene that says, we'll be right back. But how do I broadcast this? It's like, that's great, Matt. My computer has a picture on it. And how do I get it out to everybody who's bidding in my auction? So what I'm going to do is over in my controls area, all the way to the right, in that bottom row, there's a settings button. And then I'm going to go to the pop-up that came up, and there's some options along the left-hand side. The second one down is called Stream. Now, the nice thing about this customized version of OBS is you only have one option. So you have Millicast Web RTC, and that's the version we want, or that's the place we want. And we need to put in a stream name and a publishing token. This is like putting an address on an envelope when you put it in the mailbox. The Postal Service will only know where to send your letter if you put an address on it. The same is true here. We need to tell the video where to go when it starts broadcasting. Otherwise, it's just going to sit there. So the good news is, if I go back to my admin and I say, oh, stream name, I'm just going to hit copy. That's right here on this OBS tab, right underneath where I install. I just click on stream name, copy, and I come back and I'm just going to select all, backspace, paste. I'm going to paste that. Basically, I'm going to put that stream name in there. Then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to copy the publish token. And then I'm going to come in here, or oops, I'm going to go back to OBS. And then I'm going to select all and delete, so it's blank. And then I'm going to paste my publishing token. Then I'm going to make sure that my top option here is selected. It's called H.264. These are video formats. So when we're sending video across the web, we want to make sure it's a format that everybody's browser will recognize and play. And the best one to choose is H.264. I'm sure that there are some technical engineers that might argue with that, but we have found in our service using H.264 is the best and most reliable. The last thing that you want to choose is output. And you'll have, I'm going to go to the simple option here. So under output mode, you can choose simple or advanced. Let's go with simple. And the only thing that you want to set in here is what's called a video bitrate. This is how much data to send to the internet at one time. And so, you know, there's a limit, of course. The more you send out, the better quality your image is going to be. The less data you send out, the lower quality your image is going to be. So you want to find a happy medium. Well, why don't I just put, 100,000 in here and just call it a day? Well, your computer's internet has to be able to handle the speed that you're sending. So here's a quick way to test it out. Let me just go to, close some of these windows here. I'm just going to go to Google, and I'm just going to type in the word speed test. And this is going to test the speed of my computer's internet connection. Because I'm broadcasting from here, I want to make sure that my upload speed is fast enough to handle the data that I'm trying to send. It needs to, the data I'm sending has to be less than what I'm sending. And this looks terrible. So probably because I'm using Zoom at the same time. Normally that says it's like 10 megabytes per second. But this is good to know. So I'm just going to run it again. Probably because I'm running Zoom, it's showing really low. In fact, there we go. It's a little better. So this number right now is telling me how fast I can send data away from my computer, the upload. Well, it's pretty slow actually for video. It's 2.73 megabytes per second. Now, OBS deals in kilobytes. So it's like $1 bills versus $100 bills or $1,000 bills, I guess. 2.7 megabytes is 2,730 kilobytes. So if I come back over here to OBS, why I said that was, here's kilobytes per second. If I were to try and broadcast right now, I would have a little bit of a problem because I'm trying to send more data than my current internet connection can handle. So I'd probably want to drop this down to 2,000 kilobytes per second. Now, if I were broadcasting this like I did Saturday night for an event that we did in Texas, I wouldn't be running Zoom on this computer because I want to make sure that my computer that is running OBS is just running OBS. That's it. So when you're setting up for your event and thinking about the equipment you need, you basically want to take a nice big piece of Scotch tape and write the letters OBS and stick it on a laptop, and that's all that computer's going to do. Because you don't want anything to get in the way. let's say you don't want it to be connected to, OneDrive or Google Drive or Adobe Cloud or any of that, because you don't want data to be in the background doing a bunch of stuff and getting in the way of your stream. So right now, Zoom is getting in the way of my stream, and I want to avoid that. So if I need to run Zoom, I'm going to use a different computer. So because I know that my internet here where I am, I'm working from home this afternoon, I have about 10 megabyte upload capabilities. So unless other people in my house are, streaming video or doing presentations, I've got a good ceiling. As a rule of thumb, if you're watching Netflix, for instance, the video that you're watching is about 5,000 kilobytes per second. That's about, when you see a nice crystal clear video on Netflix, from what I understand, it's about 5,000 kilobytes per second. So that's, if you can, you want to get somewhere between, I would say, 3,500 and 6,000 kilobytes per second. Now, at my office, we have a fiber line and we can do 100 megabytes per second, which is way more than I would ever need. The most I've ever broadcast is 8,000. And then when you get into 8,000, you're starting to talk about 4K, Ultra HD. So I won't go too far into that, but I would say if you can get good quality at about between 2,000 and 3,000 kilobytes per second, but you really want to try to get closer to 4 or 5. That's kind of the general rule of thumb. Either way, no matter what, I don't want to set this to 5 because right now my internet can't handle it, and what'll happen is you'll start to drop frames, and because your internet just says I can't handle it, I'm sorry, not going to work. So I'll just set it at 2,000 and I'm going to hit OK. Now, once I've done that, I don't have to ever do it again. So that's the good news. It took me a long time to talk through it. Again, really all I did was I went to settings, stream, put in my stream name publishing token, made sure this was set to H.264, and then made sure that my video bitrate was not more than my internet would allow me to do. So that's really all I did. And now, again, I don't have to change it. So if I set this up on Tuesday, I'll be good to go on Saturday. When I am good to go, I'll just hit start streaming. And now it's going to tell me that if it's working, it's going to say stop streaming. And it's also going to tell me that I'm running, my CPU is 2.9%. I'm live and I'm not recording. But let's go to my browser again, and this is my mbdemo.cbo.io. This is my demo account. And it looks like I need to log in order to see it. I've been playing around with different visuals and elements here. I want to say that my bidder number 2. All right. And perfect. And now I'm going to, now remember, I'm broadcasting. So what will happen is it'll start broadcasting. What will happen is it will start broadcasting automatically. And as long as I've been interacting with my website, so, just clicking on things and stuff like that, I'm telling the browser, hey, I'm a real person. I'm not a bot, and I'm not trying to, hack somebody's computer. So it'll go ahead and start playing automatically. Something very important to specify is that because of, advertisers have pretty much ruined this for us. They have, if you're like some people in my office, you have, 27 tabs open in your browser. And if they didn't have a restriction on this, 5 of them could be playing, commercials for, homeowners insurance or reverse mortgages or whatever, and you wouldn't be able to stop them because they could just start playing automatically. So what Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Edge have all done is they've said, nope, we're not going to autoplay advertisements unless we know that there is somebody actually interacting with the page. Then yes, fine, we'll let you autoplay your videos with sound. We'll let you autoplay your videos, but we're not going to let you play sound unless we know that somebody's using the page. So when people ask me, Matt, will my videos pop up and start playing? I have to say it depends. And it depends on whether or not you're interacting with the page. If you're not interacting with the page, what you'll notice is we do tell you, press play to begin video stream or press stop to close, so that if you don't see anything, you can just press play and it'll start playing with sound. So the only reason it would do that is if all you did was just loaded the page and sat there. So if you've been browsing or looking at auction items, it's just going to autoplay. On a mobile device, it's going to put the video in the top third of the screen, and then your bidding site will be in the bottom 2/3. That means people can watch the video and swipe and browse, just like they would do with Instagram or Facebook. They can just swipe and swipe and swipe. They can multitask. The other thing that lets them do is when the auctioneer is calling the live auction, they'll be able to bid on the live auction at the same time as that they're watching the broadcast. So now what I want to do is go back to OBS. I'm broadcasting, and I want to add a video. I'm just going to press plus in scenes, and I'm going to call this video. And I'm going to hit OK. Now I have a new scene, but it's blank, so I need to put something in it. I'm just going to choose media source and hit OK, and then it's going to let me choose a video file. So hopefully I have, I have a very, yeah, this will be fine. This is huge, but this is a broadcast that I did. Let me just pause it and turn the music off, so that way it's not competing. This is the event we did on Saturday where we had it was a school in Texas, and we had a pre-roll. Then we had, let's see if we can get further into this. We had a head of school, and then we did some video presentations. This is a dinner program, so they could have dinner. People were eating in their homes. And then we came back from the program. Let me just get to an actual video here. Goodness gracious. Okay, so yeah, so then, this is a video that you can kind of scrub around and play. This program was 3 hours long, so we recorded a lot. And we did all the video assembly and the video editing here at ClickBid, and then, we presented this for them. And this in OBS was actually about 12 to 15 different scenes that we ended up playing. So this was one video, and they shot this on an iPhone, so that's pretty cool. They delivered the videos to us on iPhone, and it worked pretty well. And then we went to a live auctioneer who was in somebody's home calling the auction, and we kind of scaled it down because they came through on Zoom, and we wanted to keep the video a little sharper, and then we put a border around it and so on. But anyway, I'm now broadcasting this. If I go to my event, you can see here that I'm broadcasting it. Everything that I'm doing in OBS is now being pushed out to everybody at home. So they're watching this. Now let's say we've got our auctioneer. I'm going to pause it, and then I'm going to go back to, we're going to make the transition now. We've set something up in OBS, and now we want to set up the live auction, and we want to set up the fund a need. I want to keep track of my time here. I could talk for probably an hour on OBS, and I just need to be careful that I don't get too lost. I want to make sure that I'm covering all the aspects. Under Manage Items, the second thing that is available to you when you have, actually, you know what? I'm going to stop streaming. I just don't want my computer to get overloaded because I'm running Zoom, and I'm running a screen recording, and I'm broadcasting. So I just want to make sure I'm not doing too many things at once and then crash. That happened to me once early on when we were doing this service. So, oh, and sorry, William, I missed your text here. Does that live screen just show up when they are on the auction site? Yes, it does. Like I said, when you log into Bid, it will automatically pop up as soon as you press start broadcast or start streaming. When I press start streaming, our bid sites are constantly checking to see if you are streaming. If you're streaming, then we're going to show a video, and we're just going to pop it up. So that way people don't have to know to click something or wait for something. It's just going to happen. And if they don't want it, they can close it. So it won't show anything if you're not broadcasting, of course. And you can also, one thing I didn't show you, I will take a moment here, go back to live broadcast. There is a third piece of data called public viewer link. This link, if you copy it, you can send it to people in an email. You can put it on your landing site. You can put it on your corporate site. This is a link to the live stream. So it'll just put it in a window, and it will play the live broadcast when you go live and when you're public. If this is set to anything other than public, this link, that public viewer link, won't show anything because we don't know who's watching it, and you've told us that you want to limit to certain people. So it has to be public, but then if you send this link out, people can watch it. I caution people on that, actually, because if your goal is to get people to participate in the silent auction, the live auction, and the fund a need, then I would suggest only letting people watch the broadcast if they're logged in as a bidder. That means that they can see the bid items, they can see the live items, they can make a donation. You're more likely to get some engagement, and it would allow you to capture more data for your contact management system, like Neon, Salesforce, Razor's Edge. You can get their phone number, email, and so on. And I did see a question come in that, is there a way to see the total length of your content? Yeah, we have. This will make our third fully produced event, and the other two are online, and I'll put this one on. Actually, I'm making a copy of it to put online tomorrow. So yes, we have a couple that you can watch already, and then I can make this one available as well. So this public viewer link is helpful if you want to send it out to people. But again, I would caution you that if you do that, you're kind of giving it away for free, and it does not incentivize people to register to bid. And it's up to you. I mean, I'm not saying that because there's a right way or a wrong way. That's just my recommendation. So when you're using the ClickBid EventStream service, when you add an item, let's just add an item, and we're going to call it, signed basketball. And I'm going to leave the item number by default. I'm going to set the status to active. I'm going to let it close tonight at 11:55. The closing time doesn't really matter as long as it's in the future, because with a live item that we're auctioning off with an auctioneer, we're going to open it and close it dynamically when the auctioneer is ready to auction that item. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Just as long as your closing time is in the future. It can be tonight at midnight or 11:55, just something in the future so people can preview it. So then under item type, I'm going to choose live as my type. That's something we've had for quite a while. But the new feature is the allow live bid. This means I want to say yes, and I want to allow people to bid live from home when I allow them to. And you have 3 fields here that you need to fill out. The first one is starting bid, second one's market value, and third is increment. Now, if you're setting this up by yourself and you're not sitting next to your auctioneer and they're not giving you input, I would work off of the market value. If I think that this basketball should go for $5,000, then I'm going to start my bidding at $2,500, which is half. And then my increments are going to be, let's do $500 increments. Because let's say I get somewhere between 10 and 15 bids, which is pretty good for a live auction. It depends. Actually, the live auctions I've been doing lately are getting 30 and 40 bids. But regardless, I usually say, 10 to 15 bids. Then I would get another $5,000 on this item, which is great because now I'm going to get about $7,500 for the item. So the nice thing, though, is that we can drop this as we get going. So let's say the first 5 bids come in at $500 and we start to slow down. The auctioneer says, how about, tell you what, if you won't give $500, will you give $250? It's a small price to pay, folks. This is an amazing item. You're not going to regret it. You will love this basketball. I can drop that increment on the fly. So let's just set it at 50 or 500 for now. And then I can add images, description, and so on. But for this demonstration, I won't get into that. My goal is create a name, set a closing time into the future, choose live item type, set the allow live bids to yes, and then choose a starting bid and an increment. Now, again, the auctioneer can change these on the fly, but it's a good idea to get in the ballpark before the event. And I see, Maggie, you have a question about live stream tickets on Eventbrite. How do you recommend we connect them to ClickBid? That's actually through the event tickets page. If you go to your event tickets, manage guests under your ticket page, that will let you convert them all into bidders, and then they'll be able to bid in your silent auction and participate in the live stream. Anybody who's a bidder in your, and if you can find them under bidders, manage bidders, they can watch your broadcast as long as your broadcast is public. But if they're a bidder, they can watch the broadcast. And to get them into bidders, you can either import them, create them one by one, or if you sold tickets, I'm sorry, you're using Eventbrite, you would want to export those out of Eventbrite and then import them using the Manage Bidders page. So that's something our support team can certainly help with. Under the chat down here, you can pop open a chat. If you have any questions, they can help you with that. I'm going to keep cruising through the live stream though, because I want to get to the live auction. So I've got my live items set up. I'm just going to complete and go back. So I just set up my live item and I want to look at them. I have 99 items in my account. How do I see which ones are EventStream? We have a tag system here, and I'm just going to type in EventStream, one word. Or in fact, you know what? I'm just going to type in event. And it'll give me all of my EventStream tags. So now I have some really cool sounding ones like the Fusky Island Getaway. Then I have my signed basketball. So these are all ready to go. Notice these are closed. These closed last month on 2/26. I'm going to leave that for now, but you could select them all and then come down to batch and update their status. Oops. To active and closing time to a time in the future, and then update, and that'll fix that. But let's say it's Saturday night, 6 o'clock, the program has started. Again, I had that laptop that I put that Scotch tape on that said, I think it's Scotch tape, maybe it's duct tape, I don't know. Anyway, I wrote OBS on it and I stuck it to my laptop, and that is my OBS. And like I said, you're not allowed to do anything else on that laptop except run OBS. And there, you know, you'll notice that my CPU, it's only using like 5, 6, 7% CPU. And this is not a super fast laptop. It's more that I'm just concerned about you accidentally closing a window or the software crashing for some reason or locking up or whatever. I'm more concerned about that than I am where you're getting confused and having a window get hidden and you didn't know where it went. I would rather you just have this laptop set up and it's front and center OBS. Then you can get another volunteer and another laptop, and you can literally set them right next to the OBS person. And they're going to load Event Central Butler, and then they're going to come down here to EventStream and manage your event stream. And they're going to open this up, and they're going to see all 6 of those live items. They're going, oh, cool. If they go to donation items, they're going to see that I have 4 items in my manage items page that are called donation items, but the first one is called paddle raise, and that one is important because that's the one that people are going to give in real time while the auctioneer is talking about my paddle raise experience. So I'm going to go back to unsold. Now, if I'm broadcasting, I am going to hit broadcast again. We'll just hit start streaming. I'm not going to play that video because again, I just don't want it to crash my computer because it's trying to do too many things. You'll notice that if I say show feed, it's going to, once it catches the feed, it's going to start showing it in this window. So I can, as the volunteer that's seated here, I can watch the broadcast and I can choose any one of these auction items to show. Maybe I need to hit refresh. Oh, no, I don't. Never mind. I was just too hasty. So there it is, broadcasting. And now I'm waiting. So at 6 o'clock, we're going to start with about 3 videos. We're going to do some testimonials. We're going to have a guest speaker. And then the auctioneer is going to get in there and say, okay, folks, the time has come in our event to auction off some amazing items. Now, I'm a bidder. I'm over here and I'm watching. I'm at home. Again, I'm wearing like 3 different hats. So I've got my bidder hat on and I'm sitting at home watching the broadcast. This is cool. I'm swiping through auction items. I'm bidding on, you know, full body spray tan. That's funny. These are auction items from an event for a women's shelter in, where was it? DC area, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so I was, you know, I'm bidding, and then the auctioneer says, all right, time, folks, for the live auction. Let's get ready to bid. And I'm thinking, oh, this is cool. What are we doing now? The auctioneer says the first item up for bid is a signed basketball. Now, this is where that volunteer that's been sitting here is going to say, oh, that's my cue. I click on signed basketball. It says your item is loaded. Remember to press start to allow bids. Now, remember, I set the starting bid at $2,500 and the minimum bid is $500. Now, the auctioneer is on camera, and there's ways to do this so that the auctioneer can be in the same room as the person running OBS, or they could be in another state, and you can connect them with Zoom. I have some information on that on our website. If you go to our EventStream resources, I have a whole tutorial on how you can connect Zoom to OBS. It's pretty cool. That's how I do our broadcast, is through Zoom. So the auctioneer is saying, all right, folks, this is a signed basketball. This is an amazing auction item. You're not going to want to miss out. It was from Game 5 of the 2019 NBA championships. What I want you to do, folks, is you now should see a button called Bid Live. I want you to press that button, and we're going to start bidding. So I go, oh, yeah, okay, there it is. Bid Live. Boom, hit that. And it brings up my Bid Live screen. Everything else goes gray because I'm focusing the bidders on this. This is what's happening right now. You know, bidding, silent auction bidding can wait. Just like in a real event, the auctioneer wants everybody's attention. We're going to do this live auction for 10, 15 minutes. So let's just focus in. Let's do this and let's make some money. But you'll notice I can't bid on anything yet. Well, that's because the auctioneer's kind of, you know, chatting you up a little bit, getting you excited about the item. I won't accept bids on this item until I press the start button. The auctioneer says, all right, folks, who's going to give me $2,500? That's this volunteer's cue who's sitting next to the OBS person to hit start. And now the bidding is underway. Okay, who's going to give me $2,500, folks? $2,500. Who's going to give me $2,500? At home, I get my $2,500 button, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'm going to bid. $2,500, yep, I'm bidding. And now I'm winning the item, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just waiting for that to say, you've been outbid. Meanwhile, back at the venue, where we're running this, the volunteer at the desk sees, oh, cool, Matthew Merkins just gave $2,500. And now the auctioneer needs to see, well, how does the auctioneer know that Matthew Merkins gave $2,500? They're either across the room or they're in another state or whatever. They need what's called a confidence monitor. A confidence monitor is what they put on a stage to point at the speaker, so the speaker can look down and see the PowerPoint slides or whatever's behind them on the big screen. That's why it gives me confidence to know what's going on behind me, because I can see it right there on the floor. Those are called confidence monitors. So I want to give that to the auctioneer so the auctioneer can be talking into the camera, or this fall, the auctioneer can be standing at the front of the room of the people who are attending and know exactly who's bidding on this item. So I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to send a text message or an email to the auctioneer's cell phone or computer or whatever, and it's going to send me a text message. I'm going to press open link, and it's going to send me, I don't know if you can see my camera in Zoom. I'm sharing my screen, so that always makes my camera smaller, but it shows me, if that's clear or not, it shows me the same thing that the volunteer sees right here, except all it is data. That's it. No buttons, nothing to touch, nothing for me to know how to click. I just leave this screen open, and I can see now that Matthew Merkins just gave $2,500. And the next bid is $3,000. Okay, folks, I got 2,500. Do we see 3,000? 3,000, folks, 3,000. Do I get 3,000 in the room, 3,000 at home? Come on, folks, we need $3,000. So somebody in the room raises a paddle, and I don't need to know who it was, but as the volunteer, I'm just going to submit what's called a floor bid. A floor bid is a bid that came in from the people on the floor, the main floor. So that's how we do a hybrid. So somebody bids from the room, and I just submit. The reason I did that is so that ClickBid knows that it happened, because ClickBid needs to tell everybody at home, hey, somebody just bid from the event, and now Matthew Merkins is outbid. All right, now I got to bid $3,500 to stay in this thing. I bid $3,500. The auctioneer has done nothing. The auctioneer sees that I now got a bid from Matthew Merkins. Okay, folks, well, nice try, John, sitting there on the floor here. You just got outbid by Matthew Merkins from the internet. So what are you going to do? You going to bid $3,500? Or are you going to bid $4,000? Do we have $4,000? Now we start to slow down, and the auctioneer says, all right, folks, but what about $3,750? Can I get a $250 bid? The volunteer says, oh, I better drop the next bid, $250. So now it's $3,750. Because again, at home, everybody needs to stay in sync. My button only gives me one option. I don't get to type in how much I want to give because I need to stay in sync with the auctioneer. I don't just want to type in random numbers. I just want it to be simple. So again, remember, for the people at home, this has been, about as crazy simple as it can be. I'm watching the auctioneer talk, and I'm pressing bid. So at the event, if you don't want the auctioneer to have a confidence display, and the auctioneer is going to be working a crowd up on a big stage, and all the auctioneer needs to know is that somebody bid from home, give the volunteer a paddle that says internet on it, and every time somebody bids from home, I put my paddle in the air, and the auctioneer says, oh, okay, I got an internet bid, $3,750. Okay, who's going to give me $4,000? So then the auctioneer doesn't need to know who it is from home. They just need to know that somebody did give it from home. So let's say I'm sitting in the room, the auctioneer is calling and looking in the crowd. Okay, folks, who's going to give me $3,750? And then somebody from home did, boom, $3,750. And now as the volunteer that's manning the virtual bid screen, I put my paddle in the air basically as a proxy saying, oh, somebody bid from home. And the auctioneer says, oh, thank you so much, $3,750. All right, folks, $4,000. People at home are outbidding you. You got to represent. You can't come to this gala and get outbid by a bunch of people staying home. Let's go, let's go, let's go. $4,000, folks. Okay, so you get the picture. If it's just a virtual event, there's no such thing really as a floor bid. But if it is a virtual event this fall and some people aren't comfortable going to an event, this is a great way to include them. Again, it works really well. We know that it works really well because, like this weekend we had, I think I probably had, 40, 50 live auction bids on a single item. It was crazy. So, and that was an entirely virtual event. But when the auctioneer is getting ready to close, they say, all right, folks, that's it. If this is where we're at $3,750, folks, going once, going twice. All right, are we ready? And sold for $3,750. Thank you so much. And now, as the volunteer, I close the item. The person bidding at home sees a close. The button goes away, and in this case, I won it. So now, sweet, I won the item, and I'll be able to pay for it. Now, we do that for the rest of the live items, and then we go to the appeal. The volunteer presses donation. The auctioneer says, all right, folks, we've come to the point of the evening where we're going to raise money. If you didn't win that live auction item, that's okay, because the organization needs your help. You've got to help us we want your help this year. We want you to give generously. So what I need to do really quick is I need to set up my donation item. Just going to do donation. What did I call it? Paddle raise. Okay. So under the paddle raise item, I want to set some increments. I'm going to set an increment of 1,000 and 500. We'll just keep it simple, 1,500. And there we go. And then now I can see in my as a volunteer, I see that I have two options, 1,500. I get the third option as other. So the auctioneer says, okay, folks, let's start this off right. Let's get 10 people to give $1,000 tonight. What I want you to do, folks, is on your phones from home, I want you to press the Give Live button, or if you didn't close your live auction, we're just going to take you right there and we're going to show you the $1,000 button. So you can see here, I didn't click anything as Matthew Merkins. It just automatically switched. Again, we're trying to keep it as simple as possible for the people at home. They didn't have to touch or do anything. They just watched the video and they pressed the buttons. If I weren't bidding in the live auction and I clicked close, I would see a Give Live. Where it said Bid Live before, we're now in the appeal part. I press Bid Live, or I'm sorry, Give Live. And now the auctioneer's telling me, folks, we want $1,000. Let's get 10,000 or 10 people to give $1,000. I'll do it. And then now again at home, the auctioneer didn't touch anything either. And now the screen is showing all of the donations and they're all just coming in. The auctioneer says, thank you, Matthew Merkins, $1,000. That's incredible. Okay, folks. Oh, Sally Smith, thank you so much. Peter Wilson, thank you so much. This is incredible, folks. We are at $3,000 already. And they're just coming in one after another. And then the auctioneer says, all right, folks, let's give $500. $500, let's get 25 people to give $500. The volunteer shuts off 1,000, turns on 500, and that shuts off 1,000 and turns on 500. To me at home. At home, I see how much I've donated and I see how much has been raised altogether. So I get a total right in front of me. So I'm enjoying and seeing the money come in automatically. I don't have to touch or do anything. If I want to give 5,000, I can do that, and I can make it anonymous. So I can give anonymously, and if I want to. And then when it shows up to the auctioneer and the volunteer, it shows up as anonymous. And thank you so much. We've got an anonymous donation of 500. Somebody match that, $500. And then when you're done, you can switch back to other. I'm going to go back to other, and then I'm going to choose here, and I've got other. And so I can give $5, $50, $100, and so on. Now, again, this is all happening on the computer with the volunteer who's running this. I call them a virtual spotter. That's somebody who's, an auctioneer will have spotters, so they look around the room to see who's raising a paddle. You can have a virtual spotter who runs this screen. Very simple. A spotter will have no problem with this. Looks like somebody gave, text to give. Somebody gave a text to give of $1. That's funny. So that is, just thinking through my head, if I covered everything, that is pretty much the system. Again, the person sitting next to the virtual spotter is the OBS controller, and they're running the broadcast. In that way, it keeps things simple. It keeps everybody focused on their job. And again, I always recommend, just as a closing couple comments here, always do a couple dry runs, a couple tech rehearsals. One of them with first one with a very small group of people, because you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to have to stumble through some things, and it gives you a chance to really, break it and start over or try again. And then do another dry run with maybe some of your committee members and stuff like that. That's what I always recommend. When we do our tech rehearsals, I always get just my clients, the people I'm directly reporting to, and we do it together. And then we get, the board chair, committee member, the foundation director to watch it once we've practiced, because it just takes a little bit of coordinating. And then when you're done broadcasting, you just press stop streaming, and that will automatically close the broadcast window for everybody who's watching at home, and then they can just get back to bidding in the silent auction. All right. Well, if you have any lingering questions, I know I took us past, so I'm happy to answer for a few minutes here. Otherwise, thank you for joining. I'll send you a copy of this broadcast, and then you can reply to me if you have any specific questions or you need me to do a tech rehearsal. I'll also include the link to the 2 previous broadcasts that we did full production for, and you can see those as well. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Let's see. We are using Zoom for our video streams. Would the bids be done through OBS? OBS is just the broadcasting. Bids are done. People are bidding from home on the website, the cbo.io website, and the live bids are being monitored by somebody inside the cbo.io Butler application. Zoom and OBS are just for broadcasting video. That's it. So nobody would actually be bidding through Zoom. They would be watching. They could watch it through Zoom, but then that would just be sitting on top of their screen. So awesome. Good question. Very good question. Sometimes getting your head around the 2 can be a little bit tricky, but once it clicks, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions, so I'm going to close my share here, and we're all set. Thanks, everybody. Have a good afternoon.